So, on camera properly now, how are you everybody? Hopefully this stream will not have any technical hiccups like last week's did. For those who are watching on the replay or listening on the replay and didn't listen or watch live last week, I had a few technical hiccups, but hopefully I've updated the software tonight. Fingers crossed, we should be absolutely fine. So it's Monday evening. It's 9:04 if you are here live right now. It's I think the fourth week of lockdown in isolation here in the UK. I was just saying before we went live properly how everything just like doesn't mean anything anymore. Like everything is just blurring into the days, just blurring to the same. It's almost like things are feeling like not real. Is it just me who's experiencing that? But it is almost like I look out the window, almost like, and then I think of the good old days when we were allowed out. And I look out there, and it's all so peaceful, and no one's around. It's almost as if nothing is going on. And then you turn the news on, and you go, "Holy shit!" A lot is going on. So yeah, stay inside. I'll keep you company for at least the next hour. What's Alicia saying? I always think Ross's chair looks well comfy. It is pretty comfy, you know. You can get a good lean back on it as well. And like sometimes I like to lean back, I have my phone, I do this. Oh, wait a minute, I'll try and do it without knocking over everything. And I just put my feet up here like this, Alicia. And I can have my phone here like that. And it's just nice. Just chilling out. You know, there's the full view of that poster. If you never want to be criticised, don't do anything new. That's an interesting one. That's something we've been talking about, you know what, a lot on the live webinars that I've been doing. We'll recap on a few of the live webinars I've been doing for members of ActsOnThis.tv tonight, and I'll play you some little mashups out of things that you might have missed. If you've not been getting involved in these, you really should. Honest to God, like we're doing so much good work here, bringing members of ActsOnThis.tv, the biggest casting directors, agents, actors, writers, and producers now. And also, I've got such a treat for you next week. I don't know if I'm going to announce it tonight, because I want to focus on the guests we've got this week, and then I'll give you next week's guests at the end of this week. But I might, for those who stay on till the very end, remind me, and I might play you out just a little trailer that I shouldn't probably play right now. But it's going to be a super interesting webinar. Last week we had two great guests. I had Dan Hubbard, one of the biggest UK, well actually just one, not even UK, one of the biggest like global casting directors on the planet, from the Hubbard family of casting directors. His sister Amy, his mum and dad John and Roz were huge casting directors back in the day. Dan casts now some of the biggest TV, some of the biggest films on the planet, works with massive names. He cast all of Matt Damon's Jason Bourne films. He cast Tom Hanks. The Captain Phillips was awesome. He's done things like Tomb Raider. What was the one with the King Kong? They said Godzilla. Just done massive stuff. Just cast a huge show for Sky Atlantic as well called Devils. It's coming out later this year. And he works a lot with just some of the biggest directors in the world of film. And he came on. We had a great 90-minute chat. Members of ActsOnThis.tv got the opportunities to jump on camera every time I do one of these webinars. At the moment, they're every Tuesday night, every Thursday night as well. You get the opportunity to jump on one-to-one. And then on Thursday night, we had Janet Hampson, who, for those who don't know her, she was a really big comedy casting director for over a decade. She's recently turned to agenting. She's now opened her own agency up, wants to be an agent now, and is actively looking for actors for her books. So that was a really interesting broadcast, because everyone who I brought on, I was just trying to pimp out and go, Janet, you're going to sign them then? Do you want to just sign this person? I'll play a couple of little mashups, like I say, of those to show you what you've missed if you've not been there and you couldn't make it. If you are a member of ActsOnThis.tv, by the way, if you go over to the website, I'll show you where you can find the replays of all of those, because they're in your members area right now. I haven't been sending emails out to tell people that they're there, because they... Oh, wait a sec. Let's have a look. Hang on. There you go. I've not been sending emails out because I haven't had time. It's absolutely crazy. I go from one broadcast doing one of these webinars to another. But if you go to ActsOnThis.tv, for those who aren't a member, if you click on this preview features thing in the top corner here, you can go through and watch 15-minute previews of everything you've missed. There's Janet Hampson's, there's Dan Hubbard's. We had The Witcher casting director Sophie Holland on the week before that, along with Martin Gibbons, one of the biggest commercial casting directors in the country, on. We had Hannah Quinn, the director of The Stranger. We also had Chris Stone doing a showreel workshop on how to get your showreel seen whilst you're in isolation, because whilst you're not out there working as an actor, your freaking showreel really should be. There's no pressure creatively to use this time if you're not in the right headspace to do that. But if you are in the right headspace to do it, you should definitely be using this time to promote your acting acting career to the right people. So we did that. We had Ed Spleers, Starved Out and Abby and Outlander on the week before that. Kelly Valentine Hendry, one of the biggest casting directors in the country, whose show, Gangs of London, starts on Sky Atlantic, I think in 3 days' time on the 23rd. Do support that show. Watch it. Let Kelly know what you think of it. We just had loads and loads of people on, and I've got coming up this week 2 great guests as well. But yeah, for those who didn't manage to tune in live, I'll play you now just a little mashup of the Dan Hubbard one and the Janet one, just to show you what you're missing. Just check the comments out, make sure everything is good. Gary's in the house. All right, Gary, hope you're doing. Hope you're doing. I mean, how you doing? Hope you're well. Hope you're doing. It's a little mixture of the two. It's like I'm watching QVC, says Alicia. Do you know what? I've always thought shopping channels must be so hard to present on. You know, you've got to like talk about a mug. Like I'd have this cup. If you're listening on the audio experience, I've got a cup of tea in my hand. Very rare for me to have tea. But you'd be like, right, I've got a plain cup like this, white cup, and I've got to talk about it for 20 minutes. And they just start making shit up, don't they? Like going, yep, and the circular notion of the top of the cup. I mean, just feel that. It's so smooth, and it's got a handle, and I mean the handle is just silky smooth in its design. It's so ergonomic. I'm like, it must be so hard to just come up with shit for 20 minutes on a cup, but that's what they have to do, don't they? Janet Hansen is looking for people that you say, yeah, 100%, Fanny. So if you go and watch the replay of the broadcast, yeah, she talks about exactly who she's looking for right now, age groups, brackets. She talks about expansion as well. She's only got, I mean, she's pretty much a brand new agent. She's only been going a few months. But I know he's going to be great because she was a casting director for so long, so she just gets it. And she casts really big comedy as well, Janet. And she's got 22 people on her books right now. I'm sure she got a deluge of maybe 170 emails the next day from people who tune into that broadcast. But this is what I'm doing for people. I'm literally opening up my phone book. I've done it again today. And I'm just going, who are the most influential, most helpful people I know in the industry who I can literally introduce. It's not like I'm doing a broadcast like this where you don't get any chance to interact and you just type in the comments. I'm bringing you on so you can actually talk. People will sign. I guarantee you, people who spoke to Janet or followed up shortly afterwards after attending that webinar on the night will sign with her within the next week. I just know. I just absolutely know it's true. Here's a little bit of here's a little bit of Janet's now. I'll play it for you. Actress turned producer over the years, turned really big comedy casting director over the years, turned now agent. Janet Hampson, welcome to the broadcast. How are you?
And now it's still a very small agency. I've only got 22 clients.
Yeah, because we were saying, like, I mean, yeah. You're on the lookout, effectively.
I am.
What are you looking for when it comes to taking somebody on?
When I'm looking at someone's CV, it's always the photograph because that's the first thing you see. So a good headshot is important.
What gaps do you currently have on your books?
Some agents don't like you to message casting directors. Just so it undermines them kind of situation. But how do you feel about that as an agent now?
I'm completely happy for my actors to write to casting directors and say, hello, you might not know me.
So I've got a show reel with 2 scenes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be fine just to send that and say...
Are they scenes from 10 years ago or are they more recent?
Actually last year. So
oh, well, they're fine, yes, and those.
How do you go about building your relationship with any new clients that you get on your books?
We just have an ongoing thing. People text me, people phone me.
Does an agent care about where an actor does or does not train?
I don't think so. I personally don't.
Thanks, Ross. You answered my email last week. It was an amazing reply.
Hello, Janet. It's really lovely to hear you speak about this business because you obviously understand all the moving parts that are going on with it. And you know, drawing on your experience, it's fantastic.
He's eating his tea.
He's having his dinner.
I am eating my tea.
We might end up running a bit over here, Janet, but we'll get you some clients. Right. Is that all right?
Me not being English, is that a problem?
I don't think so, because what I see going out on Spotlight and what I hear and what I watch are lots of multinational programs.
What's your kind of advice for an up-and-coming character actress?
Well, it's interesting to hear you say I am a character actress because I'm not sure people talk like that anymore. Write to me, send me your reel.
actsonthis.tv/live to get involved. I mean, you just saw Janet at the end there, just saying to Esther, a member in the community, look, send me an email, send me your show reel. Janet was taking people's names, like full names, first name, surname, so she could go and look them up on Spotlight after she'd spoke to them on the webinar. So yeah, if you want to get involved with these guys, like seriously, I don't think after the lockdown we're going to be able to kind of, have the access to the people that I'm getting. The reason I can get all these people on and to spend 2 hours with us on a Tuesday and a Thursday night is because no one else is like doing anything right now. The second lockdown is lifted and we've all got to get back to our lives, including myself, who's got to, try and recoup all the freaking money I've lost through voiceovers that have been cancelled. I'll still be doing these live webinars. We might just do one a week. I won't be able to give people 8 of these a month after lockdown, but whilst lockdown's on, you're going to get 8 of these a month. And then hopefully we'll go back to some podcasting as well, and that kind of stuff. But I have enjoyed kind of going back to what I used to do 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I used to do these webinars online before I got the equipment and stuff to do full-on podcasting, like real high-quality podcasting in person. So it is interesting to kind of go back technology-wise a few years, start using this and, and bring that to you guys again. But it does give you that one-to-one access that when I'm doing the normal podcast, you only get over the phone. Sometimes we'll ring Acts on This premium members and, and you'll get to put your question to the guests over the phone. Now you actually kind of get to see them for the time being. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, anyone who's looking for an agent, you want to check out janethampson.co.uk. You want to get to actsonthis.tv and watch the full 2-hour replay of that. If you're not a member, become a member. You'll find that in your members area. Listen to what Janet likes, what she doesn't like, what she wants from you, what she wants in a show reel, what she doesn't, headshots, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm pretty certain she'll end up signing people from the community. She can't obviously sign everybody, and there's only certain gaps in her books that she's looking for, although she's looking to expand in other areas as well. So ultimately, there's never an area of her books that she says are like locked off completely. Her books are always open, as are any agent's books. This whole notion of going, my books aren't open this month, it's bullshit. If an incredible actor comes along, your books are always open. They're just open to the right people. Good evening, Sam. How you doing? Jill, how you doing as well? It's on her website. Says Mel, what's that? What are people asking for? Yeah, so in terms of contact details, just a website, guys, or she does say it in the broadcast as well. I don't know if it's different. Tony, does Janet need American actors? I might know a guy. Do you know what, Tony, mate? Like, if you want some English rep, if you wanted that, Janet has people. She's got people in France and stuff, and people in Europe. She might well be open to having people across the pond if there's a deal to be struck with your American agent as well. We talked about that actually, because there's a lot of people end up having a split commission rather than you paying an agent in the UK 15 or 20%, depending on what it is that you pay your agent. If you end up working in the States and the UK, in the States, you generally have an agent and a manager, and then you'd have an agent. We only have agents over here, Tony. You'd have an agent over here, and they generally split that commission 7-7-7, so you end up paying 21%, but it means that you're getting repped on both sides of the Atlantic at any one time. And if the UK rep gets you a job, America benefits, and if America gets you a job, UK benefits. So, Tony, you never know, mate. You never know. So that was Janet. I'll play you a little mashup of Dan Hubbard's as well. Who's here who joined the Dan Hubbard one? Dan, he's so good. He's so good. As a casting director who very, very, very rarely does any kind of like press, or I've never really seen Dan do workshops or anything like that. We got 2 hours of his time. And learned an awful lot. I did as well on the night talking to Dan. It's a super honest, candid interview as well. I'll play you a little bit of this one, and then we'll do some Q&A, and I'll show you what's coming up this week. But here's a little bit of Dan Hubbard on the broadcast last week. Who is Dan Hubbard?
By the time I was 16, we were doing a film called The Commitment, which was sort of the rest is history, because that really put us on the map as casting directors. Can I just say also, people watching, don't be nervous about anything or asking anything if you get through.
Here he is, the lad.
How we doing?
Ollie, meet Dan. You would have met him at your showcase, but now you can meet him virtually.
How you doing, buddy? You good? What I want to know is, what's your goal, basically, of going to a showcase?
Well, casting mine never stops. Basically, it's our job to hang on to memories, and I have a really good memory.
There you go.
Hi. Hi.
How are you?
I've just got my first sort of TV bit in All Creatures Great and Small. So I'm just wondering, does it kind of like level me up in terms of getting seen by you?
Does it help? Yes, it does. Because if I'm being perfectly honest with you, it's a very fickle industry and people want insurance that, you know, someone is good.
Hi Ross, hi Dan.
Hi. Oh, am I waiting for Safa to give me the question?
So do you think that I should even be looking into not only having a London agent again, but even like as having a Scottish agent?
Look at this, Dan. Yeah, we got Gemma Simons on for the period.
Yes.
No makeup on, so.
Yeah, but they didn't have makeup in the olden days.
I had to do a self-tape and I got 3 scripts through.
Have you seen a lot of South Asian actors or BAME actors kind of come into in the picture? Because I'm really pushing hard recently.
I think I've seen you a few times on Twitter.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Ross,
Yeah.
I am so sorry. I've just like had you hands on, but I was just so game to get on.
Thank you so much for that. It's been absolutely amazing. I've really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure. Don't amalgamate all your past negativity and put that into your situation today.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to let all that go. You know, your calm mind is the ultimate weapon against your challenges.
Freaking everybody loved what Dan said at the end there. I don't know where he got it from, but he said your calm mind is your ultimate weapon. No, your calm mind is the ultimate weapon against your challenges. So true. We spoke a lot about the mindset of kind of this industry as well, and auditions and screwing yourself up by basically not seeing yourself as good enough. And one thing that Dan said on the webinar as well that I thought was really cool was everybody, and this took me such a long time to get my head around as well. Only if you want to, I guess, but everyone here should be thinking of themselves as having a global career. So many people are not thinking big enough, and with the advancements in just basically casting via self-tapes, there are no geographical boundaries for anybody now, and that's what you just said a minute ago, I guess, Tony. You should think of yourself, mate, as having a global career. If you want to work in the UK, come and work in the UK. Same for people who want to work in the States or Canada, if you're in the UK or Europe or wherever you are. It is about definitely kind of like, getting your head around that and daring to think of your career as big as that. And that took me if I'm honest with you, it's only the last year, literally the last 12 months where I've come to terms with that by going, no, I can think like that. Because maybe there is just a part of you, isn't there, that's like domestically, I'll be okay domestically in the UK. Yeah, that's it. I'll just focus on that. But opportunities come up abroad, and they're there for the taking, man. So Dan's awesome. Said a lot of awesome stuff. Alicia, that was the only. I had no idea when I subtitle these videos. I don't know what it is you said there. You said, Ross, I'm so sorry. And then it was about saying like you put your hand up all night to get on camera or something like that. I couldn't figure it out. So I've basically, if I got the subtitles wrong on your bit of video there, I apologise. I couldn't understand what you're saying. I think you were dead excited, but I like to subtitle them for social media, so we're nice and inclusive. My mind is my nemesis, says Shelley. Well, got to get a grip on that. And it's you know what? It's not something that you just do overnight, Shelley. This is like the game, innit? In terms of really getting an understanding on your belief system, where your beliefs have come from, why you believe you can and can't do other things. Are you honouring other people's limiting beliefs that were pushed onto you, that were never meant to be your own? Even if you think you are your own worst enemy, honestly, really mean this. If you think you are your own worst enemy and you shit on yourself, you don't think you're good enough or whatever, I promise you, you will find at some point in your life, if you went deep enough, somebody somewhere has pushed that thought into your head. You haven't come up with that of your own accord. You just haven't. You really, really have. Even if you're convinced you have, and that's it, I'm just not very good, blah, blah, blah. Someone has pushed that into your head before. That is you honouring someone else's limiting belief based on what they thought they could achieve, which was based on a limiting belief that was probably pushed onto them as well. So it is about tackling your mindset. And mindset is everything. The whole program I run at bulletproofactor.com is all about mindset. It's just, it's something that changed the game for me. Alicia says, I fist pumped at Dan Hubbard. Yes, you did. And he recognised you off Twitter, didn't he? Because you've clearly been stalking him there as well. Brendan knows his mum and dad. That's amazing. Alex says, I love what he said. Think of yourself as a shop window. Are you Apple or Currys? Yeah. We got into branding a bit, didn't we, Alex? Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, of course. He was like, listen, as an actor, what are you? What do you think yourself of? There's nothing wrong with curries. There's nothing wrong with curries at all. But, to see yourself as Apple, that's probably better. And curries probably sells the same, some electronics that are just as good as the Apple stuff, but Apple stuff is just packaged much better. When you get a new Apple thing, whether it's a phone or an iMac or whatever, a laptop, the packaging it comes in is beautiful, but the product is solid. The product is so good, but the packaging is incredible as well. So as an actor, you might be the product that's so good, super, super talented, but your packaging might be dog shit. So no one wants to open you. It's like, a present, but no one's taking the wrapper off because you look crap. So you got to dress yourself up to look the part as well. Definitely. Right, what else is going on? I'm going to play you what's coming up this week. My Facebook name is mine. Oh yeah, Shelley, it's Polly, innit? Of course it is. I always forget that. Shelley's name is Shelley on Facebook, but Polly in real life. I'm far too polite sometimes. I don't put myself first. I need to look at that without being unpolite, says Andrea. Yeah, you got to, it's not about having an ego or anything, Andrea. It's just about knowing your worth. And it's about seeing yourself as an equal. No, that's what it is for me. You know what? That's what it is for me, right? I've got some new people who I've never met before doing these live broadcasts with me, and I have to jump on a Zoom call with them. And there's one I'm going to play you in a minute. It's the first time I met this guy today. He's incredibly well established in the industry. He's younger than me, but he's achieved more than me in less time than me. Does it make him better than me? No, it doesn't. Of course, there will be people in your life who are younger than you, who have achieved more than you in less time than you, right? And that's also a reason why you shouldn't whinge about anything as well, because you can do it as well. So it's inspiring to see other people just cracking on and doing it. But every time I jump on one of these Zoom calls with somebody to record this little invite video, there is that little bit of trepidation before, and it's like, oh God, I hope they think I'm all right. I hope they think Act On This is all right, and I hope they really actually want to get involved with it. And they don't think it's it's shit. And I have to just remind myself, God, I am, a peer to this other person. I am in the same industry, wanting the same things, and I'm no better than anybody, but I'm no worse than anybody. So I just mean as a human being. So it's it's about seeing everybody as equal, and just talking to people on a level. Not that they are better than you or you're better than them or whatever. It's just about collaboration and leading with just an open heart, an open mind, and being positive and being good and being the sort of person people do want to come back to time and time again. So they will hang out and you can collaborate and put some great stuff out in the world. Harry's in the house. Ross, can we get your thoughts on follow-ups? Where do you stand on calling up agents, casting directors? I've had mixed results. Sometimes they are very willing to talk. And I've managed to get people's time. Others just tell me they can't talk and be quite rude. I've managed to get top agents to give me feedback via phone call. Do you know what, Harry? It just depends, mate. It just depends. So I'm not... Depends who they are and what you actually want. If, for instance, I'd seen a brief online and I knew my agent had submitted me for it, and maybe I'd, not heard anything, but I knew I was perfect. This happened a couple of times in my career. This is absolutely 100% what, it's happened. I have took it on myself to follow up personally, not through my agent even. I've let them know I'm going to do it, but I'm like, this means so much to me. I've got to do, I'm a bit of a control freak, mate, so I'm like, I've got to do something about that. But it's very relevant. I'm not just, chasing something that's a general email I've sent or something like that. So I'd be very happy to do that if it was like a time-sensitive thing where I know this thing is being cast right now. I've been subbed for it, and it's a role I would die for, and it means the world. If I could just get it, I have a personal connection to it. I know I'd be good for it. I'm not wasting their time. I'm all about extra emails, phone calls, even if there's a little risk of them going, well, there's not, if you do it properly, there's not really any risk of them going, well, you just fuck off. There would only be that if you were pestering and you had no social grace or calibration or awareness that you're pecking their head. So no, if you're adding value, I'm fine with the follow-ups. Right now in the current crisis that we're in, you've got to, obviously make sure your tone is right, and that you're aware of what the situation is that they're in. There are certain casting directors you will see on Twitter right now who are not in the right space to be doing anything to do with work or helping actors out because they've got to put themselves first. They're losing offices in London that have taken their entire careers to get, and now they're losing and they've had to furlough all their staff. Casting directors are self-employed, man. So most people in our industry. So they've built this career and they have employed people. They employ their casting assistants and their associates. So it's not the TV company or the network that gives them the money for their associates or their assistants. They pay it. So if I'm a casting director and NBC want to give me X amount of money to cast their show, out of my money, I have to employ my associate and my assistant out of my own money. I don't get it from the network. So there's some that are in dire straits right now. So you got to just, again, collaborate, be sensitive to that. Collaborate as well, but calibrate yourself and your actions to that. If it's agents right now, most agents are probably, in a relatively okay place unless they own their own company. If it's one of the big agents and they work for United and Curtis Brown, etc., pretty sure they'll all be okay and would be happy to, or maybe not happy to. I don't know if anyone's ever happy to be pestered by thousands of actors, but would be more open to communication. It's just about kind of knowing. Dan Hubbard says it's about knowing. Do you know what, Harry? I don't know if I can play this out because I've not got it lined up. But Dan said something great in that broadcast, and you were on it. He said it's about knowing what to do when. So it's about knowing when to be a human being and when to be an actor. And he was like, so many people at barbecues that Dan's been at, he just gets actors pecking his head. I'm like, I'm here for a social outing with my family. Like, can we just not talk about it? So yeah, he's got to use common sense, mate. But I think in general, now is a really good time because we're kind of used to the lockdown now. Most people, particularly after today and the self-employment stuff's happened at HMRC, where you can now apply for these, these furlough schemes and actually get money into your company within the next 6 days. People are going to be feeling a little less pressure. So now, like 4 weeks in, is probably a reasonable time to be going, right, okay, I'm going to reach out and communicate with people. But give them time. I know I personally, I reply, as you know, mate, I sent you an email. I reply to every email that comes in. Sometimes that would take me 7 days to get back to people because I normally get maybe 10, 12 a day. At the moment, I'm getting 3 times that. Now, luckily, I was in a good situation today where I could sit down and probably answer 50 emails. And I like to answer with value and give some real decent information in those or point people towards features and actsonthis.tv. But casting directors will be getting hammered. Absolutely hammered. So you've got to give them more time than you normally would before you follow up. And a lot of actors as well. A lot of people emailing me as well, guys. Like, honest to God, so many people are emailing me are still looking for permission to do shit in terms of like, they'll write an email and they'll want me to read it for them before they're allowed to send it. And it's like, I'll do it. It comes to a point where I don't have time to just do it quickly for people. And, and sometimes I'm a bit like, oh God, come on. Have some self-belief in your ability to write a nice email. Like, you can, everyone on here, if you can write a comment, like people are writing comments in here, these are fine. You can all write nice things or like, curious things and ask questions. Like, you're all capable of it. And yet so many overthink this email they're going to send to this person because for some reason they're going to blacklist them or whatever. You've got to build some belief in yourself, man, and just believe that, again, you are worthy of someone reading what you are writing. And sometimes you get replies, sometimes you won't. But if I could give actors one thing, it'd be the confidence to believe that they have any ability to write some correspondence that's actually like, succinct and to the point and carries value. And every email I read has all that. And they've already done it. It's kind of like they ask me a question in paragraph 1. They answer it for themselves in paragraph 2. And then they just want me to go, yep, that's the right answer. You already know the answer. So if if it's in your gut, send it, man. Send whatever email you're thinking of sending. And you can't get it wrong unless you're going to be overtly rude. You can't get correspondence wrong, really, guys. Mel's ripped her jeans. Bloody hell, Mel. It's not good. I've had a tooth falling out. I'm just praying that this tooth there on the bottom, I've had a crown. Didn't I tell you? I've got a crown on this tooth for 14 years on my bottom tooth there. Bloody fell off eating soup the other day. I just clanged my teeth together. How do you even do that? So I've had to glue it on. I went and got some denture cream from Sainsbury's. So I've glued it on. You can't really tell. It falls off twice a day. I have to renew the denture stuff. But I'm like, if anyone's a dentist and you know how I should look after this until I can get to a dentist, Same goes for those on the replay. Please tweet me. Let me know. How do you look after a tooth that a crown has come off and just won't stay on? Because I'm not sleeping in it in case I swallow it. So I do take it out at night. Is that all right? I just got to get to a dentist and get him to glue it back on, but I'm aware it's probably going to be weeks until that's possible. I'm unfortunately going to have to skip a few comments, guys, because hundreds have come in and I've missed loads, but I'll get to the more recent ones. Right, I'm going to play you guys a little trailer for what's happening tomorrow night. Who loved Sophie Holland's broadcast that we did? Sophie Holland is the casting director for Netflix's The Witcher. She's currently casting season 2. Episodes 1 and 2 of The Witcher have been cast of season 2, but Sophie goes into a little bit of detail, not much because it's secretive, of what is left to cast in season 2. There are episodes left to cast in season 2. We had a 90-minute, or a bit longer than that actually, nearly a 2-hour chat with Sophie. Again, people came on, asked their acting questions one-to-one with Sophie. She's one of the nicest casting directors, the most supportive casting directors, and the most open to new talent casting directors I think I've ever met in my life. Genuinely champions new talent, has a very US-centric way of looking for new talent. America's way more open than we are to taking unknowns and putting them in massive stuff. Sophie's exactly like that. Sean said he loves Sophie. Chris told me to wear a gum shield. I don't know, man. I've not got a gum shield. I'd have to go and find one. Sophie Holland has my heart, says Mel. Everybody loved Sophie Holland. Well, obviously, people were saying when you're going to get Sophie Holland back on. Now, I'm not going to get Sophie Holland back on a week after we've just had her. However, Sophie Holland's casting assistant turned associate very recently, is kind of in the process of graduating from Sophie's assistant to associate. FAYE TIMBY, who's amazing as well, is coming on to speak to you guys tomorrow night. All members of actsonthis.tv will get a chance to tune into this live and get the opportunity as well. Again, we can't get everybody on live, but I'll get as many actors as I can on live to speak to FAYE tomorrow night. If you've never met FAYE, here's a little message from her about what's going to be happening. Actors, spoiling you guys rotten. I'm back once again with another incredible invite to an incredible actsonthis.tv live webinar taking place on Tuesday, the 21st of April at 7:30 p.m. Fresh off the bat of having Sophie Holland, the Witcher casting director, on last week, I thought, let's just open Sophie's office up. Let's get everybody on. So we've now got someone else from Sophie's office, FAYE TIMBY. Welcome to actsonthis.tv. Thanks so much for doing this.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me.
Honestly, absolute pleasure. I'm loving doing these. Basically, guys, what you're going to be able to do on Tuesday night is jump on this webinar. It's a 90-minute casting Q&A with FAYE. Going to be talking all about casting auditions, FAYE's casting process, Sophie's office's casting process, all the good stuff. And you are going to be able to jump on camera one-to-one and pitch your acting career questions directly to FAYE and get a bit of one-to-one coaching. Anything specifically you want to talk about, FAYE?
I'd love to demystify the casting process a little bit. I think a lot of actors have a misconception that, you know, we're kind of waiting for them to trip up, but actually that's definitely not the case. And, you know, we're willing you on to do a great job from the minute you step in the door.
Yep, absolutely. You know, we've got if we're good, you look good, I guess, which is
exactly
how it works. Get yourself over, guys, if you want to join in with this. Get yourself over to actsonthis.tv/live for full details on how you can get involved, and also a schedule of loads of these webinars that I've got coming up over the next few weeks. I'm gonna let you finish this off, FAYE. Why do actors not want to miss this?
Oh, good question. It's going to be honest, candid, and a BS-free zone.
I love it. Honest, candid, and BS-free. We'll see you there, 21st of April, 7:30 p.m. actsonthis.tv/live. Boom. Love what FAYE says there. It will absolutely be honest. It's going to be candid, and it will, above all else, be bullshit free. We don't do anything with bullshit at actsonthis.tv. It's going to be straight to the point. It's going to tell everybody how it is, because that's the only way. The more honest you are with people in this industry, the faster you can get where you want to go. That's all right. An email someone sent me their show reel the other day, and I could see they were really good. I was like, my God, like this person has so much genuine talent, but their show reel was just not showing them off in the right light at all. For the first 57 seconds, I didn't hear this person speak, and I was like, there's not a casting director in the land getting through that. They've already switched off. Now, I had a choice. I could have gone, oh, you're really good, Or I could have gone, oh, you're really good, but the showreel completely needs changing because it's doing you no favours whatsoever. And that's what I went for. I just went for complete honesty and no bullshit. And that, although you get an email like that back, you're like, oh God, this showreel I've edited and I've spent time on is doing me nothing. It was a complete waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time because you've learnt loads of stuff from it and now you know how to do it properly. But that's the way it has to be. Otherwise, that person just bangs their head against a brick wall for 2 years and wonders why no one's bringing them in. And it's not because they can't act, because they're really good. It's because the showreel, they just didn't know about showreels. This guy was the first member in his family to ever get into the acting industry, didn't have any friends who were in it, just had natural talent, but did not understand showreels. But if you go to actsonthis.tv, listen to the podcast I did with Chris Stone, and then watch the webinar I did with Chris Stone last week, you'll know all about showreels. You can't get it wrong. I think, Harry, you were asking about something. You were asking about Daniel's assistants and stuff. So Daniel's associate's Lucy Allen. Daniel's assistant is Tom. I don't know Tom's second name, mate. You're gonna have to search on Twitter. I really don't know Tom's second name, but he's Daniel's assistant. Yeah. But they're all, as far as I know, going to be furloughed at the moment. Daniel's not casting anything right now, I don't think. As is no one. No one is right now at all. What are you saying? Who don't I give enough breaks to, Alex? You're talking about Petch here? Is Petch come on here or something like that? Dougal's here. All right, Dougal. You'd make sure it was super clean inside the crown and on the tooth and get some temporary filling material and stick it back on for your tooth. Excellent. Well, yeah, I need to get some temporary material then, as opposed to Fixodent. I can't get any temporary material though. I did look for like tooth glue on Amazon, and it was all like, it said product in high demand, coming soon. So I guess everyone's in the same. People will be in a worse boat than me. Mine's just a little crown, man. I'm sure like people have fallen off the bike and smashed their entire teeth out. I am not complaining. Things could be far, far worse in my life. It's just a bit frustrating. I feel naked when it pops off. I was doing a webinar the other night and I thought something had flown into my mouth. It wasn't until 10 minutes afterwards I realised it wasn't. The tooth had just flew out of my mouth. Mental. So that's FAYE TIMBY, by the way, tomorrow night, okay? If you didn't get on to speak to Sophie, then I'll try and get you on tomorrow night. I'm trying my best to bring different people on camera with these guests every time we do a new one on every Tuesday and a Thursday. Bear with me if you've been on before. It's nothing personal. I just know I'm going to get loads of shit from members of the community. The people, like 250 people will join these calls in an evening. I can't bring the same people on. I've done it a couple of times because they had a very specific question they could only ask that person, and they really needed to know. And they made a pact to go, I will never ask another question on any of these. But if you've not been on in particular before, you've never asked a question, you really wanted to get on with Sophie, when you jump on tomorrow night with FAYE, just put your question in the Q&A box first, like quick. As soon as you get on there, if you've got a question, think about it beforehand. Get it in the Q&A box, because obviously I always start from the top. But if there's 250 people in there and everyone submits even just one question, but lots of times people will submit 2 or 3, suddenly I'm faced with 700 questions. There's not a chance I'm going to be able to even read those questions. I literally end up having to just scroll through, stop, and just pick one at random at that point. So if I've not brought you on yet, it's nothing personal. It's not because your questions are shit. It's just because I haven't, I just have one pair of eyes and we have 90 minutes. I don't have anybody, searching through the questions, etc. And I'm just trying to bring on people who have asked questions, sometimes that are relevant to many people, or other times it's just literally completely random. So do just get your question in early tomorrow if you haven't had a question yet. And Nick says, I like hearing other people's questions anyway. There's always shitloads to learn, Nick, isn't there? It doesn't really matter. I promise you, even if you don't ask any questions on any of these webinars that we do, if you've been to every single one, by the time we get out of lockdown, we probably will have done 20 of these. You can. It's no joke, man. You can literally learn years worth of knowledge in a couple of hours, because every person who comes on, whether they're an actor, a producer, writer, whatever, they're giving you their entire life's experience in a couple of hours. That's what I love about books. If you read someone's autobiography, I can get sometimes 80 years of human experience over 6 hours reading somebody's autobiography. It's unbelievable. It's why you should be reading as much as possible on lockdown, or listening to audiobooks as much as possible on lockdown, podcasts, videos, that's on this stuff. Because you can just, you're not having to live those 80 years discovering all those mistakes. You can just basically start as if you've already learned all those lessons. So it's amazing. Disclaimer, Ross, 98% of my questions, I just want to ask as a general. I just want to ask you to ask as a general. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what everybody wants. I get it. Casting directors particularly, actors want to get on screen just so they can speak and maybe they'll be remembered. It's almost like a little general audition, and I get that, and I want to give that to as many people as possible. That's the reality of it, isn't it? So if people haven't been on before and you want to speak to Faye tomorrow, get your question in early, and if you've not been on, I will absolutely do my best to get through as many people as possible. Now, Thursday night, right? I'm so freaking happy to have this chap on, right? I've admired this guy and his business partner for quite a few years now. Got any fans of people of I'm trying to think of the stuff they've done on... Anyone seen Bulletproof on Sky? Anyone been watching that? Stars Noel Clarke and Ashley Walters. Quite a few other big actors in it as well, including this chap that I'm going to introduce you to now. What I really love about Noel and Noel's production company, he's teamed up with a guy called Jason MAZA, who is a guy I'm going to have on for you guys on Thursday night. Both actors, Noel and Jason, both actors turned producers, still acting their stuff though. They just got to a point, both of them, where they were like, just sick of waiting for the phone to ring, man. Sick of waiting for agents. I'm sick of not seeing stuff for audiences that they wanted to serve. There's a lot of audiences that their material serves that they thought were underserved in terms of the content that was going out for those people. And their work ethic and hustle has just been absolutely phenomenal. And I've watched this from afar develop. Jason, who you're going to hear from in a second, had a company. He set up his own production company called Think Big. Noel had Unstoppable Film and TV. They worked on a couple of projects together over a couple of year period, decided they were going to merge companies. They both now own 50-50 of Unstoppable Film and TV. They've got just some incredible stuff on the horizon, film and TV. But I wanted to get Jason on. You're going to hear in this little trailer why. But I really wanted to get him on because I know there's a lot of people, including myself as well. It's a bit of a selfish one, this. There's a lot of people here who want to just make their own stuff, but like really want to, they're not mucking around. They actually are at a point in their life where they're like, right, now is the right time. I'm going to take this seriously and look at more of producing my own stuff. I'm definitely in that boat. And these guys have just already done that. So we're going to be looking at how to get an idea basically from your head and into reality, pitching that idea to production companies, what they like, what they don't like. And, Jason can tell you this because he has his own production company and they get pitched all the time, him and Noel, and they make incredible stuff working with the biggest, labels and networks in the world. So we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at developing your relationships as an actor with producers as well. And there's a little bit at the end that I won't give away. Jason will tell you now. A very interesting story about something Jason achieved with not a lot, but this is going to be happening on Thursday evening. Again, all members of actonthis.tv, 7:30 p.m. Let's check it out. I just keep hitting you with these one after the other. Back once again, actors, with another incredible invite to another incredible actonthis.tv live webinar taking place on Thursday, the 23rd of April 2020 at 7:30 p.m. with a guy I have massive amounts of respect for. I want to be just like him when I grow up, even though I'm already older than him. Actor, producer, co-CEO of Unstoppable Film and TV alongside Noel Clarke, Mr. Jason MAZA. Welcome to actonthis.tv.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Absolute pleasure. What are we going to be talking about, Jason, on Thursday night?
So Thursday, we're going to be getting down and dirty, buddy. So we're going to be talking all things producing. What is a producer? What does it take to be a producer? Different types of producer, whether it's exec producing or being hands-on producer. I also want to talk about pitches. What's going to make your pitch as a young writer creative stand out? What are we looking for? What are other companies looking for? And lastly, I suppose, building those actor-producer relationships. Now, often, you always look as an actor to build those relationships with directors, but I think actor-producer one is one to work on.
Absolutely. I cannot freaking wait. We're also going to be taking your questions on the night live. You're going to get the opportunity, if you attend this webinar, to jump on camera with me and Jason, put your acting career questions to him, producing career questions, whatever you like, basically. Anything that's going to help you get further in your career faster. If you want to get involved, get over to actonthis.tv/live right now. In order to do that, you'll also find some other incredible webinars that I've got lined up for later this week and into the entirety of lockdown, basically. We're going to keep giving you these. Jason, to finish off, pressure on you. Why don't actors want to miss this one?
Hear how I made a film for £500 and sold it to an international studio.
Absolutely amazing. We'll see you there, 7:30 p.m. actonthis.tv/live. Boom. Yeah, I don't know that story. I wasn't going to let him tell me because I want to hear it for the first time on that webinar, but how he made a film for £500. He ended up selling it to Lionsgate, one of the, one of the biggest kind of film producers in the world. So it's going to be super, super interesting. If you have an idea in your head right now, and maybe like me, you've had it for years and you've just sat on it, it's going to be a really interesting webinar. I want you to definitely get on camera and kind of, and explain that situation without giving your idea away, obviously, to Jason on Thursday evening. But I'm just so looking forward to it. It'll be completely different to anything we've really done before. I've had a couple of producers on. Before we had Dan Winch, who just produced ITV's Quiz, the drama with Michael Sheen, about the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire scandal, which was wicked. So good. It was so good, wasn't it? But yeah, Dan Winch on a couple of months ago. You can go listen to that podcast. He exec produced that. He also produced A Very English Scandal with Hugh Grant, Broadchurch, loads of really big TV stuff. It's a great podcast to listen to whilst you're in lockdown. But I've never had a producer on who is like an actor-producer creating his own or her own work. So that's going to be one to watch. Definitely. I've got one more trailer for a feature that's coming up next week. I will play it right at the end because I promise you, but for the last 10 minutes of this broadcast, let's do a little bit of Q&A. I've shown you exactly what's going on at actonthis.tv, exactly why you should join. If you're not a member yet, it's cool. If you can't afford it right now, or it's not the right time for you, totally cool, but do check it out. It will work out. It costs you a price of a latte a week, guys. It's £4.25 a week. You get access to two 90-minute broadcasts. They're £2.12 each. It's just a no-brainer. Can't make anything sort of more simpler than that for you. But let's do a little bit of Q&A for the last 10 minutes, and then I'll play you that very, very last trailer that is happening. Oh, it's not for like 2 weeks. Not so like oh no, it's 10 days. The 30th. It's going to be happening on the 30th. This other one, but literally just filmed it before I came on live. I won't be putting it out on social media. Don't share it anywhere, but I will play it at the end of this broadcast. Matt's here. He said he was editing. He's just checked his emails. No worries, Matt. Beautiful thing about Facebook Lives is, mate, is as soon as they finish, you can just watch the replay. I missed one with Gary Vee before, guy I like tuning into on Facebook, and as soon as it finished, I just jumped back on it and went to the beginning. Simeon said Lionsgate distributed my feature on UK VOD. What's that? On demand. What's video on demand, isn't it, idiot? Of course it is. That's what it is. Nice one, Simeon. The Gatehouse on Amazon Prime. Nice, man. There's a couple of people in the community have had stuff that they've got onto Prime. I know Lucy, I don't think she's here tonight. She put her film Pretty on Amazon Prime. I don't know the ins and outs of publishing and distributing stuff on platforms like that. I know more of the kind of audio side of stuff like Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that, but yeah, I've never really looked at video because I've never made anything video wise like that. That's why now I just know is the right time in my life. I'm hungry for it, man. I'm sick of just having to be in other people. I love being in other people's stuff, but I'm also a bit bored of it, of going, oh, okay, it's all dictated to. Like, I've got my own ideas, and like I said before, it doesn't mean they're not necessarily any better or worse than what's out there. It's just like they're mine, and I want to try them out, and they might work, they might not work, but I'm just ready for it, man. Oh, Lucy's here. She is here. All right, Luce. Yeah, you put your film on Amazon, didn't you? Hope that's all good. Sean says, I don't have a question, but I have an announcement, which is to do with producing your own work in lockdown. What's your announcement, Sean? What is your announcement? Announce it now, or save it for a bigger announcement. I don't know. I think that'd be great for VO stuff, amongst other things. What's that, Shelley? Have I missed something on voiceover? or something like that. Ross, I've been offered an audition from seeing my Facebook page. Brendan, you know what I mean, mate? What do they say? It's working, innit? Tell people to just document their lives, put it out on Facebook, put it out on social media, share what you're up to, show people other aspects of your life that's not just you acting, and magical things will happen. Definitely. Top stuff, Brendan. And Brendan's a nurse as well on the front line, man. You deserve that. I hope it's something really good, mate. Alex was watching your video with Jason Broderick, and you were saying about playing yourself now, and then you can go into playing other roles. Would you say to do that with headshots too? Like if you're not really the bad guy, would you have a bad guy headshot? This is really interesting, Alex. So what I always find really interesting about headshots is ultimately a headshot. It's one frame, isn't it? It's that the camera shutter closes, opens up, and it captures that one frame of you, basically. That's it. So we get this still image, one frame of you. Now, I can probably look nasty if I wanted to in one frame on a camera, or I, could look angry or mean or whatever. And if a casting director sees that and they're like, oh, okay, right, yeah, he kind of looks the part, they're not seeing the other 24 frames that make up that 25 frame per second film. UK TV is generally shot at 25 frames per second, so rather than seeing one, they're missing the other 24 on a headshot. Now, I don't necessarily walk like a bad guy. I don't sound like a bad guy. I've got this cartoon face and these big teeth, so if I had my mouth shut, they wouldn't have seen them. It's self-awareness, Alex. So yeah, your headshot has to look like you. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of variations in terms of here's a shot of me looking, here's a smiley one, here's a serious one, and here's something somewhere in between or something like that. It's about being self-aware enough to know who you are. And when you are starting out your career at the start, 100%, I guarantee you, in 99.9% of cases, you are getting employed for who you are. My first ever job 15 years ago was a barman, right? And I didn't work in a bar, but I worked in retail. I worked in a service industry. I had that kind of, warm, how can I help you kind of thing going on because it was my actual job. So when I went for that audition at Emmerdale, it was just like being at work. It was dead easy. I was getting employed for who I was, not who I can be. They wouldn't have brought me in as, the psycho gun-touting dingle, because that isn't me. Maybe once you've proved yourself for years and you've owned your own craft and you've got better and, I've got better, maybe I can branch out into other stuff, but that doesn't come straight away. So yeah, definitely your marketing has to be in alignment and congruent across the board. So if your headshot is showing one thing, your showreel should show that as well. And for you, if you're starting off, mate, and you look super young, you are super young, you're definitely going to be playing, the characters that are young, the millennial characters ultimately that are in stuff. You could definitely, go into a show like Hollyoaks, very, very young cast, stuff like that. You could be, the trainee copper, the junior doctor, although I think they might have to be a little bit older than you, but, like a trainee nurse, something like that, it's going to be kind of younger trainee scheme kind of people, or you might be the retail worker, the barman, the student, that sort of stuff. So, as a marketing package, your stuff should kind of show that as well. This is what a lot of people make a mistake in doing, is by playing against type before they've ever worked. And I think that's just making it a million times harder for yourself. And it's also confusing a casting director who doesn't know you, because they're going to think of you as something that you're not. So I would get to know the casting directors, because they're very clever people. They can figure you out as well. If you don't know your casting type, ultimately aim to get generals with casting directors and see what they then end up bringing you in for. And that will just tell you your casting type. But you should know it. Your casting type is three things. It's basically your ethnicity, your age, and the occupation it looks like you could do. And some people just look like they could do certain jobs and others don't. We just all have looks about us. Whether people like it or not, we judge people subconsciously. We have this unconscious bias when we look at somebody, and we see them as something. You see a guy in a suit and you go, oh, he looks like he's some kind of professional, barrister, lawyer, etc. And you see some guy in a tracksuit and you go, oh, okay, he looks like he could be a personal trainer, works in the gym. It's not just about what clothes you have on. A lot more goes into it than that. But yeah, your ethnicity, your age, and what occupation you could see yourself doing, or other people could see you doing, makes up your casting type. So it's pretty much at the start of your career, just what you are, and just what you do. You know, you think you're working River Island, Alex. You know, that is, you know, you're casting type, this young student-looking guy who could work in a shop or be training in a profession. So you don't have to really overthink it, but your headshot, should just be you on a good day. When you're first starting out, it's just got to look like you on a good day and show your natural personality. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. I think most actors are introverted extroverts. I don't know. You can't be too introverted, I guess. But some people, you get it, don't you? You get some actors who still fit into the victim. You know, they generally, they just fit into, they look like a victim. So they would never be the strong character that saves the day. They're generally going to be the person who's being saved. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that is just what they, you know, how they are. They might be a bit quieter, but still, you know, deadly when it comes to their acting ability can be incredible, but they're just not the jazz hands, hey, look, I'm here kind of person. It's just knowing yourself, man, and it comes with age. But I think your headshot, definitely, it's got to just be who you are right now until you've got all of that experience. Harry's got a question about voiceover. Is it easy to get those jobs? They have separate agents. Is it enough to just have a reel and have your current agent handle this? No, it's not, mate. If you want to work in voiceover and you really want to work in voiceover, this is just from 15 years experience, mate, and this is telling you exactly how the industry is. There's not an acting agent on the planet who can get you the volume of voiceover work to make a career out of it. There just isn't. They'll tell you, and I'm talking about all of the big ones as well. Don't care, and I say it to the faces because I've got mates who are repped by all of these people. Voiceover, even in the big agencies, is never looked at as more of a priority than the screen work. It just isn't. So if you really want to work in voiceover, and I mean you want to work at the top of voiceover, and you want to earn some really decent money out of it, and you want it to be a regular thing, i.e. like a job a week, you need a voiceover agent. You need a decent one, and you're only going to get that from realizing that just because you're an actor, it doesn't make you a good voiceover artist. It's a completely different discipline. The amount of actors I see disrespecting it and saying that it's something they want to do on the side, and that's why they get a reel done. They don't research it. They don't know what they're recording. They don't know where their voice fits in, and they get this thing that might sound all right because someone can blag it and producing something that sounds quite good, but it's nothing like where they would fit into the industry. The adverts on it are not adverts they'd normally be voicing. The same thing for, you know, narration and documentary and stuff. It's just a poorly produced reel, not technically, but when it comes down to fitting the voice. And then it sits on their hard drive and it does nothing. Or their acting agent goes, yeah, we'll rep you for voiceover. And, you know, they put them forward for one voiceover job that appears on Spotlight every 6 months. You need a dedicated voiceover agent. If you're a member of actonthis.tv, you need to listen to the podcast that I did with Peter Dixon. He's the voice of the X Factor, you know, Alexandra Buck. He's that chap. And you want to listen to the podcast I did with my own voiceover agent, and we go into how you launch a voiceover career properly, respectfully, in terms of respecting the industry, realizing that it's so lucrative, mate. I earn much more money out of my voiceover career than my acting career because, well, I did until lockdown. I lost a lot of money when lockdown happened because you get paid for usage, and then I was voicing a lot of holiday adverts, and they're now not going to happen. And the usage is big on TV adverts. It can be 5-10 grand, and you do an hour's work. But then when those adverts don't play out, they take the usage off you. So I had quite a bit of usage taken off me a couple of weeks ago. But that's just the way of the world. I'm happy to be alive. It's not about the money at all. It made me realize, actually, you know, how little I cared about it. My agent was like, oh my God, don't hate me. I'm like, Katie, I'm not on a ventilator. Seriously, it is fine. I really mean that. But yeah, go and listen to those podcasts, Harry. You'll find out a lot about it. And then all members of actonthis.tv at the very, very, very bottom, if I go over to the website, at the very bottom of your members area. And if you're a member, please check out your members area properly. Click on members area, click into your premium membership. Really dig into these features and scroll the whole way down here. And even on some of them, you'll see the little blue link that says show more. It'll only show you the first 10 features in each section. So that's the first 10 features with actors, first 10 features with agents, first 10 with casting directors. If you click on the little show more links, it'll take you through to a page where you'll see even more. You can scroll through extra pages of them. Really dig into what you've got access to here, because so many actors send me questions, and you know, I'm more than happy to point them in the direction of a podcast. But I'm like, if you just listen to all this stuff, there's not a question on earth you can ask me about the industry that we haven't answered. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see there it says save on voiceover training with Gravy for the Brain. That's Peter Dixon's training company for voiceover. It's basically the voiceover version of Acts on This, pretty much. You get 25% off a month if you're a member of actsonthis.tv. So use the code. There's a link in there that you've got to click. You have to click the link within that. I'm not going to open it because it'll show you the code. And those on the audio experience, it's right at the bottom of your members area, right at the bottom of the premium membership. Click on that and you'll find a code there, Harry, that you can use over on the website. There's also stuff in that little section as well. I've got a video on how to find casting directors' contact details fast and for free. And then I've got a book list here as well. We used to do the Acts on This TV book club that I've not done for a while, but I created a page that you can click on this link here and it'll take you to, I hope. Yeah, here you go. And it just gives you some really freaking good books. Still not updated since 2019. I need to change that. These will still be the books I'd recommend you today, though. Just some absolutely awesome books we did for the book club that whilst you're in lockdown, you should definitely be reading, but you'll find the book club list there as well as the Gravy for the Brain discount code. But yeah, voiceover, it's an incredible industry, absolutely game-changing industry, and it's something that you can do from home as well. If you've got a decent internet connection and a microphone set up and a wardrobe, that's all you need, that would, set you back. The entire setup would be less than 200 quid. And you need a piece of software called Source Connect, which would set you back about 20 quid a month, something like that. I've sat in my wardrobe in there and then in lockdown already, probably 500 quid by just literally sitting in my bedroom doing a voiceover from home. It is, if you're good at it, and you've got to get good at it, it takes a long time, just an incredible industry to be a part of, something that actors should explore without thinking that they can just be a voiceover artist because they're an actor. You wouldn't go on set to film your show reel had you not, spent a shit ton of time training to be an actor. You need to do the same for your voiceover. Just because you can talk, it's just absolutely not, it does not mean you qualify, to be a decent voiceover artist. A lot more goes into that. How do you find a good balance, says Pauline, work-life when being a self-employed actor for the first time? You don't, Pauline, unfortunately. Just doesn't exist. And you've just got to not judge yourself for whatever you choose to do. There's no right and wrong answer. Society wants to give you a load of shit and tell you that you should have this work-life balance, and if you're a mother, you should spend all this time with your kid and you shouldn't focus on your career, or if you're a father, you should be doing this and blah, 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 blah. No one has the right to judge anybody on anything, on how much time they're putting into their family, whether that's going to affect their relationship with their kids when they grow up or not. You've got to do what's just right for you. And there is no such thing, from what I have found, as balance. For me, it comes in seasons almost. I'll spend a couple of months going all in on something really, really hard. Right now, doing all these webinars and stuff every week, 2 webinars, it's 18-hour days, 17-hour days probably. I'll finish this broadcast now. I'll edit the replay. I'll put the audio up on iTunes. I'll go to bed probably at 12 o'clock. I'll wake up tomorrow morning about 7 o'clock, and I won't go to bed tomorrow until midnight as well. And I just know it's temporary. It's just the next 5 weeks while in lockdown. I've got to maximize this community as much as I can to give you guys as much value as possible, keep you occupied in lockdown, and get as many guests on as possible. And then we might find that when we have a 4-week period after that, where we're readjusting to being able to go out in the big wide world, and people aren't glued to Zoom all the time, and we actually have a little bit of time where I go, I'm going to do 1 broadcast a week, and hopefully you guys will be understanding of that, because we just need to kind of get our lives back. For me, it's seasons as opposed to balance. I think thinking, I should have this balance, is just putting yourself under too much pressure. You just got to do what's right for you, and don't conform to what society is telling you is right. It's not necessarily right for you. So just be kind to yourself and just don't judge yourself. All comes down to that, And it also, what? If you've gone all in, and I have to remind myself of this as well. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll get to an evening at 10 o'clock, and I know I should probably work till midnight, but I'll be like, you know what? I'm absolutely bollocksed. I just need to stop, and I'll just go in my bedroom, and maybe I will just watch an episode or 2 of something on Netflix, and sometimes there's been a temptation to judge myself and go, mate, you should have just done that extra work, you dickhead. Now you've got more to do in the morning. But I'm just like, look, I'm not a robot. I'm just going to do what I feel I need to do in order to get by. And having an hour off or 2 hours off is not slacking. It will probably make me more productive the next day because I've had a little bit of time to just decombobulate. So yeah, work-life balance probably doesn't exist, to be honest, especially when you're self-employed. The only work-life balance exists for people who've probably been furloughed, who already had a decent salary right now and are sitting at home getting 80% of that, being able to do DIY and just play with their kids and, you know, teach their kids stuff or whatever. But even that's not going to be easy. Some of those will probably be like, God, I wish I was back at work. So yeah, just don't judge yourself. What have we got here? Last couple of questions. I believe for the acts industry, specifically series in the future, there will be a place for everyone as long as you embrace your talents and know what you're good at. Writers need ideas, so just embrace what your brand is. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, just in terms of I think there is definitely, you know, a place for everyone in the industry, because everyone on here is a human being, and then, you know, they will be represented on TV at some point. It all comes down to just being good, guys. Ultimately, the thing you just want, you know, get to a point at and just work on initially is just being good, you know. And that sounds so obvious. It's that easy to go, just be better. But, you know, if you have talent and you really believe you have talent, and everyone else around you is telling you you've got talent, and you can watch yourself back and you go, God, no, I am good. Like, your time will come. You've just got to wait. And for some people, that'll be 2 months. Some people it'll be 2 years. Some people it'll be 20 years, you know. But your time will come. You've just got to be patient. You've got to keep putting work out, keep promoting yourself, and network like crazy. The more people you can know in this industry, the easier your life and your career will get. Just as it's been absolutely that in my career, and it's about offering value to as many people as you can all at once, and not asking for anything in return, and you will just get stuff. The trailer I'm going to play you now, to end on, is a product of what I've just said. I met a guy, God, probably 7 or 8 years ago. I was reading in for some auditions. Andy Pryor, the casting director for Doctor Who and lots of other good stuff, had asked a casting director who I had already been working with as a casting assistant type thing, if he knew anybody who could read in at some auditions for him. So this guy, David, put my name forward and said, yeah, Ross can probably do it. So Andy said, can I have your spotlight CV, Ross? And, you know, I'll check your show reel out and see if you're good enough to read in at these auditions for me. Sent him that over. I then went to the auditions, read in for him over 2 days for some parts in this big series he was doing called Cucumber at the time. A Red production company made it. And I met a director called Lewis Arnold. Now, Lewis has just gone from strength to strength. He was brand new then. I think it was his first TV thing that he directed. And over the years, I've seen him at other read-throughs, directing other stuff. I've never once asked him for an audition. You know, I'm like, the guy has got eyes and ears. If he thinks I'm right for something, he knows me, he would bring me in. I don't want anything from you, Lewis. I just want to give you whatever I can give you to help you in your career. And then what happens is, you know, I'd bump into him now and again and see him. And then last year he phoned me and said, mate, I know you've got acts on this. Let's do a podcast. And then he said, let's do another podcast for this thing that he just directed for BBC. One called Dark Money, starring Jill Halfpenny and Babu Cisse. It was cast by Victor Jenkins, great casting director. You can watch that. You can listen to it. I don't know if there's a video of it actually, but you can at least listen to that entire roundtable podcast that we did for Dark Money. And then Lewis phoned me last week and said, mate, now you're on lockdown, do you want to do another broadcast? And he's also just directed something coming out later this year called Des, and it's an ITV drama based around the story of Des Nielsen was his name. I think it was like a serial killer who was only found because I think it's a real life story. I'm sure like his drains were blocked or something, and that's how they ended up finding human remains or something like that. I don't know the story, but it's an incredible drama based around this true life, true crime series that Lewis has just directed. It stars David Tennant, it stars Daniel Mays, and it stars Jason Watkins, three of the biggest actors that the UK has ever seen. And Lewis is like, mate, I'll get them on, we'll do a podcast as well. So it's like, the more you give without asking, the more people just want to give you back in the end. So that's something that like everybody should be working on in terms of just widening your network, giving value to people, and that's just how the how the world works. Leslie Nielsen, that's it, Sean. Yes. So where's there you go. Yeah, that's it. It sounds. Or Dennis Nielsen. Oh, I don't know. We've got Leslie, Dennis, and Des. Who the hell is it? It's someone Nielsen anyway. But yeah, I lived opposite him in Crouch End. Ooh, you lived opposite the murderer, Brendan? Brendan, that's 10 Rillington Place. What was Christie? Different serial killer. Oh, there's too many. Dennis Nielsen. Block drains, says Steve. So that's Des. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, it sounds freaking incredible. So I've got something pretty special, and we've never done this before. I've got Lewis coming on the 30th of this month in 10 days' time. But I wanted to give a completely different angle for you guys. And I've got him to bring his editor on the broadcast with him to look at performance as an actor in the edit. Okay, this is something we've never looked at before. It's something that I've been very aware of before, and it's something that I think about every time I go on a set, but it's something that I thought, you know what, I've never actually approached this with anybody. I've never even spoken about it with anybody. You'll find top directors end up latching on to one or two editors their entire career, and they become almost like their creative director. And obviously the editor's job is so freaking crucial to make you look good on screen. And sometimes as an actor, there's certain things you can do or you don't do on set that means the editor cannot favour you in the edit, and you will find sometimes that you're not on screen as much as you wish you were. Occasionally conversations have to be had, not about your performance, but where, you know, maybe you're a side character and the episode is already running over and you've got to be cut from it. It's not you that's a shit actor and that's why you've been cut. It's because, you know, it just wasn't possible to keep you in, and you're, you know, I guess like the most disposable because you're not one of the leads. So I thought it would be fascinating to bring an editor on, fresh out of the edit of Des with Lewis. He also has edited, his editor's called Sasha. He's also recently edited NBC's new drama Brave New World that Kelly Valentine Henry cast. She spoke about that on the webinar we had with her a couple of weeks ago. It's a massive NBC series for a streaming platform called Peacock. And he edited Dark Money for Lewis. He's edited Collateral. He's edited some of the biggest TV that you will have ever seen. And yet these editors never get any kind of like praise or, you know, any kind of limelight, I guess. So in terms of, you know, what you can do as an actor to improve your performance when you go on a set, so that the editor loves you and your continuity is right, so they're not cutting around you and you're lifting coffee cups up with your left hand in one take and right hand in the other, all this sort of stuff. I just think it's going to be fascinating, and it's a completely different take on any other feature I've done on ActsOnThis.tv for 11 years, so I would love it if you could make it for that one. I'll play you that in a sec as the last thing that we play as we finish up. Anybody got anything... Any other questions? Nick says Peacock, who are showing the new Saved by the Bell reboot. I didn't know Saved by the Bell had been rebooted, mate, but I used to love the original Saved by the Bell. My God, it was so good. That was so good. That was like a golden era of kids' TV when Saved by the Bell was on. I used to love it. I just wanted to be Zach. It's like, just want to be Zach. Was Kelly that Kelly was like? Was she his girlfriend? Kelly was like really hot. Was like, I think it was Kelly Kapowski, wasn't it? Oh, God. Yeah, them were the good old days. I used to watch Power Rangers around that time as well. That was pretty decent. There was loads of good TV on there. Yeah, it's something actors should definitely learn about, says Simeon, talking about the thing I was talking about editing. I'm editing film footage as we speak, Ross, my monologue. I just wrote for Nancy Bishop about quarantine. Nice one, Chris. Well, we can get all kind of tips from Sasha on the 30th on editing as well, because it is an incredible skill. Keenan and Kel, says Alex. That was a little bit, just I was growing up a little bit old for Keenan and Kel, but that was the orange soda one, wasn't it? Who loves soda? Kel loves soda, something like that, wasn't it? There's no screech in the new one. I can't believe there's no screech in the new Saved by the Bell. It's no good for me, that then. Who is it? Mr. Belding, wasn't it? And Screech. Oh, isn't it amazing how your mind can remember names from 20 years ago, and yet I can't remember somebody's name from yesterday. Absolutely mental. Don't think Zach's in it much either. Bloody hell. Well, I'm not watching it anyway. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. If you've been listening on the replay, hugely appreciate you. If you are not a member of ActsOnThis.tv yet, seriously consider it, guys. It would mean the world to me if you join the community, and if you join now or before 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, you will get to join the webinar with FAYE TIMBY. And then obviously we've got Jason MAZA on Thursday. I think I've got Phil Barantini. He just directed Stephen Graham's first film. called Boiling Point, and we've got the cast of Boiling Point, or some of the cast of Boiling Point, Steve Graham's new film next Tuesday, along with Phil, the director. Then next Thursday, we've got Lewis and his editor. The Tuesday after that, I've got a few who it could be. I'm not going to say yet in case it changes order. But we've got so many freaking good guests, guys. I mean, these guys are working at the top of the tree. There's nowhere else on earth you can go from the comfort of your own home and speak to these people. There just isn't. So if you don't want those opportunities, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot. What's the alternative? Watch Netflix. Cancel your freaking Netflix. So many people are like, oh, I can't afford Nats on this membership right now. And I look on their Twitter, because I do this sometimes. I go, right, you full of shit or what? Because if someone's in absolute abject poverty, I'm just going to help them out, and I'll probably just give them a membership, right? Don't take advantage of that, by the way, right? I mean, if you are literally on your arse, and you're an NHS worker or something like that, I'm going to help you out. So I go and check people's social profiles out, and all the time, and I mean this all the time, I see people right now telling me that they've got no money to invest in their acting career, and we're talking £4 a week, and I'll go on their Twitter, and they've got the best premium version of Netflix. They've been all talking about Ozarks and watching all the Netflix stuff. You know, that's £10 a month. You know, there's people spending money on their favorite takeaway, going, "Oh my god, I'm so happy, just had this delivered." I'm like, "There's £20." I'm like, "You're full of shit, man. You just don't want to invest in your career. You want to basically have instant gratification. You don't want to put the work in. It doesn't mean enough to you. So have a look at what you're throwing money away on that you might not need it. If you're like, you know what, I'd love to take part in this stuff, but I don't have £4 a week. Just have a look at what you could flip as well, and what you can sell. You know, I did that before I moved into this apartment. I was at my mum's house, and I looked around the room, and I went, I'm going to sell that. I'm going to sell that. I don't use that. I don't use that. And I got £750 on eBay for stuff that was just sat in a room. You know, I probably wear, even now, probably only 40% of my wardrobe. You know, if you've got stuff that you just, you know, are not doing anything with, guys, you can make so much money just flipping stuff on the internet right now, because eBay is hot, Amazon is hot, because no shops are open. Now is the time to be clearing shit out and selling it. So just have a look where you might be leaking money, or look through your direct debits. I found a £4.99 a month direct debit on my bank account for some phone insurance for a phone that I haven't had in 2 years. That's a waste. Can't claim that back. Have a little look through your direct debits. I'm telling you, everyone is leaking some kind of money somewhere, myself included until recently. Right, gonna love you and leave you and play you this little thingy, this little trailer for Lewis and Sasha's webinar in a couple of 10 days time. Who even pays for their own Netflix? Says Alex. What do you do, Alex? Are you one of the people who just borrows somebody's login? I knew you'd be that type, but that's fine, Alex. You're only young. It's all right. And are you on furlough, mate, from River Island, or have they got you on some bullshit? What's it? No, 0-hour contracts. They don't have to give you anything. Simeon's saying $5.99 for Netflix, but that's only the SD version, Simeon. I'm talking about the people who want the 4K version, mate, and are still telling me they ain't got any money. I'm like, well, you've got a 4K TV for a start. That's not cheap, and you've got a 4K subscription to Netflix. That's a tenner, I think, or maybe even £12 for the 4K one. I don't know. I can't afford it, Ross. Deleting all my past posts. Andrea, you're on it. It's fine. But yeah, it's just about, it's about priorities, guys, in your career. There's definitely been things across my entire life, not just my acting career, but just other things I've wanted to get better at and I've wanted to invest in. And sometimes I've had to, and I don't really recommend this for lots of people, but sometimes I've gone, right, I really, really want to go on this course, and it's £2,000. And I do not have £2,000 in cash, but I've got a credit card and I've got the ability to not let that get out of control. And I'm going to be very strict with my outgoings, and I'm going to pay that off £50 a month. But if I invest in this course, the idea is it should teach me the skills that's going to earn me more than that £2,000 that I paid for it sooner than I end up having to pay it back. And that's what's happened before. I've had courses that have helped me launch online products or other businesses, and they've done that. They've paid, I've been shitting my pants pressing that place order button on the order form, and you get that rush of adrenaline as you place it. You're like, oh my god, I've just spent £2,000 on a digital product teaching me something, and it's scary as hell. But when I have ever done that, my return has been at least 5 times what I've put in. So for £4 a week, you can't really go wrong, guys. If you act on the information you are getting access to, you will. I promise you. I get emails from people every day who have said, I've just got an agent. It's happened 4 times this week. I've just wanted to give you a little update. They generally write in the forum about how do you write a letter to an agent, etc. They go and listen to all the podcasts, and then 8 weeks later, I'll generally get a follow-up post that says, hey, just wanted to say, little check-in with everybody. Last time I wrote this, now I've just signed with such and such a body. And that's because they've taken action. It just works. You can't listen to this stuff from the agents and the casting directors telling you what to do. You can't then go and, if you do that, not get further than you're getting right now. Just is impossible. How much is Bulletproof Actor? When I launched Bulletproof, Polly, it's 2 versions of it. So there's a self-study version that you can do completely on your own. It takes you 5 weeks to go through. There's 33 videos. There's 5 big workbooks as well. It's a proper in-depth course. It's not for people who want to dabble in mindset and dabble in positive psychology and stuff. It's for people who are really ready to step up, or they're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, just sick and tired of their own bullshit. There's 2 versions. The self-study version is 199 quid, and then there's a version that's a VIP version that's 279 quid, so it's just an extra 80 quid, but you get 5 weeks of live online coaching calls with me and the group. We normally have about 50 people in the group, and some of those calls last 5 hours, but we create the most tight-knit freaking community on earth for that. It's 5 of the best weeks of my year every time I launch this. I won't be launching it until way into this year, right probably towards the end of this year, because I'm going to do a second version of it this year, where I refilm it and kind of add stuff to it. But yeah, 199 and 279, but you get lifetime access to it as well. There's people who in lockdown, I know Wendy, I think you're on here, I think Wendy's going through it again. It's something that you should definitely revisit. I put myself through it again every time I teach it. There's always things that come up in those lessons that I have forgotten about, that I'm like, God, yeah, I should be doing that again. That really helps. It's fascinating. Bulletproofactor.com if you want to get on the waiting list. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Here's this little clip of me, Lewis, and Sasha. I'm so excited for this one. It's going to be so different. And Lewis is a guy you really, really want to be following on social media. He already is pretty much, but he will, without a doubt, be one of the greatest directors I think the UK has probably ever seen, to be honest. Working on incredible stuff, and he's got a lot more to give. So I'll catch you next week or tomorrow if you want to join us on the webinar with FAYE TIMBY. actonthis.tv/live to get your membership, and I'll see you at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, guys. Lots of love. Stay safe. Here's Lewis. Bye for now. Actors, I'm back once again with another amazing invite for you guys to a very special online actonthis.tv webinar taking place on Thursday, the 30th of April at 7:30 p.m. with these 2 amazing chaps here. We've got top TV director Lewis Arnold, fresh off the set of directing upcoming ITV drama Des, starring David Tennant, Jason Watkins, Daniel Mays. But we've got his right-hand man, very, very so happy to have him here, Sasha, his editor. Sasha edited Des, but has also edited Lewis's other projects, Dark Money. You've edited Collateral. You've edited an upcoming NBC drama, Brave New World. Sasha, welcome. And Lewis, what are we going to be talking about on Thursday?
I think the plan is to focus on crafting performance in the edit and looking at the side of performance from within the edit and from in Sasha's world, which is the post-production suite.
Exactly, and I think we can go into detail in terms of, on a day-by-day basis, how I approach scenes and performance and what I'm looking for initially, and then how that evolves into not just a scene-by-scene basis, but across an entire series or an entire film, and crafting a character's journey through that performance. And we can then open it up and have questions and answers, anything you might be curious about or have always wondered, or what might have changed from what was shot on the day to how it changed in the edit. We can have an open, candid discussion about that and answer those questions to the best of our ability.
I'm massively curious. I've got loads of questions, but I'm not going to be hogging the limelight, guys, right? This is your opportunity to jump on camera, literally talk one-to-one with Lewis, with Sasha, with me if you want. Ask your acting career questions, anything to do with your performance, in the edit, how you can be better on set so you get more screen time after the edit, all kinds of stuff. If you want to join us, get to actonthis.tv/live right now. And Lewis, I'll leave you a wrap up, mate. Why don't they want to miss it?
Look, I think it's going to be a very honest conversation about the kind of decisions, conversations, and things that happen within an edit suite, including ADR, the reasons why scenes get cut, the art of storytelling within the edit related to performance. So I think it'll be a unique conversation for actors to be a part of.
Amazing. @onthis.tv/live. Be there.